Today, we are going to tackle the number one top frustration that so many of you reach out to me about to say, I'm at my wit's end. I don't know what to do about this anymore, especially in the summer. And that's the constant snacking, the asking, is it time for lunch yet? I'm hungry. Mom, can you please feed me? The finding wrappers around your house from snacks that the kids have helped themselves to. This is such a common problem for us as moms. And it is so easy for us to feel like we are constantly in a 24-hour kitchen. Now, here's the truth. My own kids tend to fall into this pattern over the summer as well. So we're going to dive into what's really going on for our kids. But then I want this episode to really equip you with the strategies and approaches you need to help curb the snacking, the all-day eating, because I know that it makes it harder for you to get things done, as well as to feel like your kids are getting the proper nutrition that they need. So I want to help set you up with some strategies for success. And I'm confident that you're going to walk away with one or two strategies that you can implement right away that are going to help start shifting things in a direction that you feel a little bit better about. If that's what you need more of in your life today, you're in the right place. Let's simplify things together. Hello from the throes of summer break in the Christopoulos household. We are 5 weeks in at this point, maybe 6. It's already been quite the summer, and there's still a long road ahead of us. There are more weeks to check off, and we are a long ways away from the start of the school year. So I feel like making sure that we have some podcast episodes here to help you make sure that summer is headed in a direction that you feel really good about is going to be really important, because as the summer goes on, I feel like just things can start to feel like the wheels are falling off the cart at a much faster rate than they were before, and it can just really feel like you're constantly picking up the pieces. But if I've learned anything over the years, it's that making sure that you're just vigilant about your approaches to how you're managing your family's time together over the summer, and you're really thoughtful about how you're approaching it. There are just tiny, small tweaks and adjustments that you can make. It's kind of like figuring out what are the right levers to pull. If you can get that down, you can keep this summer break on the rails, and hopefully in a place where you feel really good, you feel like this is manageable, and you're enjoying yourself along the way. Now, I am going to preface this episode by saying, first and foremost, I'm an elementary school and middle school educator. I do not have a background in nutrition. So if you are concerned about the nutritional needs of your child, just make sure that you reach out to your pediatrician. They are a wonderful starting point. They can even put you in touch with a nutritionist if they feel like that's something that your child needs. I know that I've worked with a nutritionist through our local children's hospital, and they are just a wonderful resource, really, to put your mind at ease, and to help just give you some fresh ideas about what you could be doing to make sure your children's nutritional needs are being met. With that said, though, the intention of this episode is not so much about making sure your child's nutritional needs are met. I trust your parental judgment and discretion and the way that you're supporting your child there. But I am going to provide you with some strategies and ideas that are going to help give you a leg up in creating the right environment and providing a great foundation for your kids so that you can put your mind at ease if you are worried about, like, are my kids at a good place with their eating and their snacking habits this summer? I feel like a lot of it can just be environmental and behavioral, and with the right intention in place, I'm pretty sure that you're going to walk away from this episode feeling a little bit better about your approach this summer. Now, if you are looking for a simple approach to your meal planning and prep this summer because you are in the kitchen a lot, I'm going to point you to a free resource that I have. It is going to walk you through my exact process for coming up a menu that rotates. I've even planned out the first week of breakfast, lunches, and snacks for you. So if you're looking for some ideas to mix up what your kids are eating and keep things interesting without having to plan every single week, this is a great option for you. I've even included a menu for the summer, so a lot of fresh ingredients, things that are going to be in season, and I even give you a quick mini training on exactly how I set the system up in my family so that you can then have a leg up in knowing what you can do to get your family started utilizing the same resource. That guide is totally free. Make sure you grab it. I'll link it in the show notes, or you can head to momlifehandbook.com/summer menu. Just put your email address in there. I'll get you access to that entire resource. It even has a fall menu in there as well. So you have enough there to help you get through these next, 5 or 6 months, hopefully. So make sure you grab that. All right, let's get you set up with the basics to help curb that all day eating, those requests for food, and just know that this really echoes so much of everything that your summer success is going to be focused on. It's making sure that you are setting clear expectations, that you have some loose structure to follow, and that the environment is set up for success. So let's look at what that looks like through this context of meals for your family this summer. So I think that the first thing we really need to get clear on is what is important to you and your family when it comes to your values around food. Food is one of those things that we want to tread lightly with. Obviously, there can be a lot of associations, whether positive or negative, a lot of habits, whether healthy or less healthy, that we want to make sure that we are not creating a narrative around food that's going to make our kids feel any shame around what they're eating. We want to make sure that they feel really confident in making the choices that are going to be best for them and their bodies. So I just want you to really take a moment, do some research, get really clear on what messaging you want to send around food. Some examples of this in our family is making sure that there's no shame in the food we eat, and there's fun foods that are really enjoyable to eat. And then there's also the foods that are really going to help grow your body healthy and strong. And making sure that most of your food that you're eating in the day is really focusing on growing your body and your brain. And then layering in some fun foods is the approach that we take in our household. But then how do I actually make sure that I'm setting my kids up for success with that? Comes down to then, well, what am I expecting of myself when it comes to planning out meals that are going to support that focus, the foods that I'm going to bring into my house that are going to set my family up for success. So take time to really think about what are your priorities when it comes to food, because that's our family's values. But you might be valuing that at this point in your life, you just need foods on hand that are going to meet your kids' nutritional needs, but are also really convenient, like grab and go, or maybe you're not really comfortable cooking a whole lot in the kitchen. So maybe you look more toward, meal kits, or there's some really great like family meal plans out there that you can use for recipes that can just help give you guidance and help cut down time on the meal planning aspect of things. Get clear on what you really value about food in your household and the messaging you want to give to your kids, and then really get intentional about what you're doing on the front end that's ultimately going to set your kids up for success, whether that's making sure that they have access to the foods that are the right fit for them, or making sure that they are getting enough to eat at the meal times to help curb the snacking. Those kinds of things are going to be really helpful. Now, in relation to that, I really recommend that you come up with a flexible, loose structure around when your meal times are going to be. Get really clear on that. Our kids during the school year are used to having breakfast at a pretty routine time of day. Definitely, if they're at school or daycare, are having lunch at the exact same time every day. And then in the evenings, they're likely having dinner in the same kind of window of time. And then with that, if they're at school and daycare, or with a caregiver, or even with you, there's probably a pretty consistent snack time, right? So they're going from all that structure, and then they're filling in the windows of time between meals or snacks with a lot of structured activity. They don't really have a whole lot of opportunity to just like wander off and go grab a snack. That is all removed and out the window for most of our kids in the summer. So it's going to be natural that without the structures in place that really kind of set them up for success, they're going to be inclined to just ask for a snack whenever they're hungry, to ask for lunch a little bit early, because they also don't have a great sense of time, especially our younger kids. No clue. So what they're listening to are their body's cues and hoping for the best, right? So get clear in your mind, when are meals, and then when are we having snacks, set that schedule because that's going to really help you get clear then about how you're going to make yourself available at those windows of time to make sure that the appropriate meal or snack is provided and then it's well balanced and meeting your family's values for what that looks like for them. That structure is also going to include, what does your meal planning look like? Whether you set up a menu rotation like inside the guide that I created for you, or you want a meal plan once a week or once a month, whatever it is, make sure that you've planned out what everyone's having so that first, you know what you need to have on hand. And second, you make sure it's available. But third, what's really great about planning that out is you can then incorporate it into your day. Here's what we're having for breakfast this week. Here's what we're having for our afternoon snack. It really helps communicate in such a clear way to our kids that here's the plan. You could create a simple visual schedule that goes up on the fridge. That could be saying what time snacks are at. It could be saying what the snack is or what their choices are. I feel like that helps reduce their need for constantly asking because they know that you are aware that it's something that they need and you've already got a plan for it. It just provides that structure that they're likely craving. Also, make sure that you are clear on what your family rules are and your structure is around meals and snacks. I know that in our household, one of our biggest priorities is just making sure that our kids are getting enough to eat. And one kid is great about consolidating their eating into really the bulk of their food is coming in meal times and then some snacks. My other child is a grazer. They eat throughout the day in small amounts. And it's taken a lot for me to really honor that in them because that's not how I was raised to eat. That's not what I'm used to having in the classroom, right? Like kids aren't eating all day. So in my eyes, if I know that they can do this at school and follow a set schedule, I should be able to expect the same of them at home. But once I started realizing from our work with the nutritionist that our biggest priority right now is just calories in. Get those calories in, make sure we're getting the vitamins, the minerals, everything we need. So I had to kind of shift, what does it look like in our family? So we have set breakfast, lunch, and dinner times, and I do provide a morning snack option and an afternoon snack option. But then it's also become really important to let my kids know, okay, if you're hungry in between these times, that's okay. I'm glad you're listening to your body and what you know. Here's what you can choose when it's not snack or meal time. So that might be like a platter of fruit that just sits out on the counter. It could be a designated basket in the pantry of these are choices you can make in between meals and snacks, but making sure that that is clearly communicated to the kids is going to be really important. And it's not around, you can never have any of these other foods. It's just that if you are really hungry during this time, let's make sure we're prioritizing foods that are going to help grow your body healthy and strong, right? Because your body's telling you you're hungry. It really needs something to nourish it. So let's get you the right things and let's set you up for success with that. So just make sure that you honor what's right for your kids. It's okay if a set schedule does not work for them. That said, most kids are going to do fine with 3 meals a day and 2 snacks a day. That is more than enough for them. So feel free to start with that structure and see how it goes before you add in the option to access snacks on their own. You could let them know, snack time is at 10 in the morning and after our quiet time at 3, whatever you want it to be. But letting them know what they can expect makes a huge difference. And then another key thing is, again, setting them up for success with the right environment. So making sure that you have the snacks on hand that you feel comfortable with them accessing. Ultimately, our job here is not to manage and control what our kids are eating. We want to create the right environment that empowers them to make the choices that they can feel good about. I know that for my family, we've used Post-it makes these great adhesive white dry erase boards that I hung up in the cabinet of the pantry. And it has one of them, it's like choose one of these snacks. And that's kind of more of the snackier things like cereal bars, granola bars, crackers. And then it could be another one of choices from the fridge. Like you can grab a protein bar, a cheese stick, a yogurt, and then like unlimited fruits and veggies or whatever you want it to be. But giving them a choice board can be really helpful in creating the environment for setting them up for that self-sufficiency environment for years. And then they're off, they're at play dates with their friends, they're having release some of that control and you give kids access to choosing their own snacks. But also remember, you're offsetting snack time with meals. And if you plan those intentionally, if you structure the best thing for them to have at snack time, really chosen for them, meal being this like pristine, perfect thing. You got meals and snacks. They're eating like 5 or 6 times a day, right? Just have peace of mind. Give yourself prayer to remember. It's like sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, do you really need all this food or are you just bored? Wasn't really in my plans. But if you feel like boredom is a part of what's going on, I think that, hey, before you grab that snack, why don't you? It's easy for our bodies to confuse thirst and hunger messages. So sometimes when we're dehydrated, thinking we're hungry, but let's grab water, let's play a quick game page, and then after that, what satisfies them, and then you can kind of tease out, was this boredom? Be really proud of your child for being so in tune with their bodies. You need that over time as you set the right environment, take care of it, you're going to feel a lot better about committing yourself to certain windows of time to being in the kitchen and then creating the right environment to support your kids to be more independent and where you likely are starting to feel frustrated. Clear on which of these three? Two, is it that you need to communicate expectations more clearly or help independence? Or is it three, you need to change and also at the same time minimize the amount of time that you are /summer menu